Welcome, 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 Atlanta Falcon fans. Welcome to everyone across all platforms. We are here tonight, and I am with two superstars in this industry. One would be Smitty 14K, the man, the myth, the legend. You know him, you love him. Smitty, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Been a little bit under the weather, but I make it.
All right, man. Well, hey, I like the can-do attitude. Chris, A1 forever, my A1 from day one. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I ain't got no complaints, man. Just happy to be on here talking some Falcons football. And on this Thursday. Shoot, man, again, happy to be here. Been a long day, but shoot, man, I'm always got energy for Falcons.
Hey, man, that's that talk I love to hear, man. We are about to get into the Falcons defensive coordinator search, who we like, the guys we'd like to see, and who they've interviewed so far. But first, you know how we do it on For My ATL Sports. We're going to cue the music. Here we go. We'll be back in 1 minute. All right, gentlemen. Welcome back. We are here to talk about the Falcons search for a defensive coordinator. And hey, before we kick this off, Smitty, A1, tell me your thoughts on basically Mr. Jimmy Lake being relieved of his duties. Let's start with you, Smitty. How do you feel about that? Do you feel it was time? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I feel like it was time, man. Honestly, the writing was on the wall with the last two games because the 4 game stretch before the last two games, where the Falcons had nearly 20 sacks, you can tell that Jerry Gray and Raheem Morris put their hand a little bit more on this defense, and it started producing. And as soon as they turned the reins back over to Jimmy Lake the last two games, and things they just changed right back up. As to we can't get to the quarterback, no pressure, and we give up a lot of points. So those last two games really just told a story that put us out of the playoff race. And we gonna say somebody had to be the scapegoat, but at the same time, we knew it was a mistake to hire a first year guy with a lot of veterans anyway. So they were just right there wrong when they did it. So it wasn't no surprise, but he did get a chance to wet his foot in the coaching game in the NFL. So he did get something out of it, but it wasn't a surprise.
So,
A1, how you feel about it?
oh shoot, man, you already know. We was talking about it beforehand on different shows. Me, you, one time for the fan. Shout out to everybody over there as well. But we were big low is all of us. We was talking about it, and I was feeling like if any change was going to be made, it was going to be those who needed to be fired, y'all. And that the ones who I felt like was Jimmy Lake. Some people can say, Raheem Morris. I'm not saying he didn't have fireable offenses, but I didn't think it was going to be Raheem. I feel like if there was going to be any kind of turnover, it was going to happen on the defensive side of the ball, which it did. Jimmy Lake and Jay Rogers was let go. A lot of people didn't even know who our defensive line coach was, to be honest with you. A lot of people were like, who's Jay Rogers? When he got fired, people was wondering who was Jay Rogers. So that's crazy work right there. But people forgot he was even here. So you had Jay Rogers, you had Jimmy Lake, you made changes on the defensive side of the ball. It had to be done. Nobody likes anybody getting fired, but at the same time, guys, it had to be done. First year play caller, it just didn't work out. It shouldn't have been done, but it just didn't work out. So now we have an opportunity to go get some experience on that defense. Some guys that can probably scheme up some guys being in the right places at the right time. We don't have to see, hopefully, guys like a Matthew Judon, who was brought here to get after the quarterback, running away from the quarterback instead. So, it was just so many ups and downs. And I honestly feel like our defensive personnel guys regressed under his defense. So, and honestly, it may cost some guys an opportunity to be in Atlanta just from their production standpoint.
All righty. And joining the show, we have Miss Carrie from
What's
One Time
good,
for the
Kerry?
Fan. Hey, Miss Carrie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. Doing very
Oh, yeah.
well. Welcome to the show.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
welcome.
And I just had to join. I can't stay for real long, but I had to join and say hey to you guys, and also hey to Smitty because feel like I haven't caught him in a while. So I just want to say hey. I hope you're doing well, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. About to say Smitty. I don't know if he in the background doing something. Probably back to eating some chicken wings, knowing him. One thing about Smitty, he gonna sneak off and get them chicken wings.
Hey, McKay, how you doing? I've been a little bit under the weather, but
No
but
problem.
I'm still hanging on, man. I'm still around.
I'm glad to hear it.
Oh yeah, man. But yeah, so
Well,
like I said, man, we was all talking about it, and I'm just glad it happened. And it's so funny that Carrie is here now because I know she was one of the people that was really like crossing those fingers and holding the faith, more than a lot of us. Um,
Jeez.
like
Hey,
for real.
actually, Chris, McKay holding the door for him to walk out of if you didn't see it.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not.
They
You're
probably
not wrong. You're
flew,
not
flew,
wrong.
flew up here and packed his bags and so got him right on out of here.
oh wow.
Oh wow.
Promoted him to customer, huh?
Yep.
Hey man, we got to
Sometimes
get
you
you
got
out
to
of here.
do that.
If Dixon Way was available, he probably would have rode him off on a unicycle.
Probably would have, man. Probably would have. No doubt about it. Guys, we got to do some housekeeping. John Higgins the third says,
What's
afternoon, guys. Smooth Smitty, Chris A1, and my man whose name I don't know. How are you all doing? We are doing well. Hey, I'll be nobody. Look, I'll be
Hey,
nobody
you got
special,
you,
especially
you
on
gotta tell
this
him what your
channel.
name is, man.
Hey, man, I am T Will from One Time for the Fan, also from For My ATL Sports One, and let me drop my card here. So look it, if you don't know me, get to know me. Please like and like, share, and subscribe to the number 4 my ATL Sports One. Again, the number 4 my ATL Sports One on YouTube. Hey, check me out. I'm on a few shows. Wouldn't you say, Chris? Would you say I'm on a few
Yeah,
shows?
you're in a few shows now, man. You getting in
I'm on a
rotation.
few shows. I get around. I do Falcons, I do Braves, I do Hawks. But hey, check me out. Check out your boy, and that way I can continue to bring hopefully good content. But hey guys, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about these Falcons. Look at Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't have a lot of time. Talk to us about who you like for defensive coordinator and maybe who would not be your ideal candidate.
Okay. Who I like is Steve Wilks.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably number one. But honestly, there's a lot of good candidates out there. I'm really happy that this came at a time when there are some names out there. It's not like Slim Pickens where we only have to settle for a Jeff Ulbrich, like uh, um respectfully, yeah, like I said last night on One Time for the Fan, I don't want to go back to the X. Why settle for the X when you can, maybe get something new? And I would like some new, fresh ideas, new perspective, and I think that's what this Falcons defense needs. So I would love a Steve Wilks or a Wink Martindale. But honestly, I'm not against Lou either. Really, honestly, some people have commented under my post and said, because I was like, what do you think of Jeff Ulbrich? I'm not really a fan. And I got multiple comments saying, like, still better than Jimmy Lake. And I'm like thinking in my head, well, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't even
But
reply because I
I
didn't want to
mean,
be so disrespectful, but I'm thinking, well, I mean, is that the standard? I mean, but yeah, like I mean, no, I
just
didn't
gotta
mean
be
it
better than Jimmy.
disrespectfully. Anything's gonna be better. Not to be sounding rude, but honestly, like it was pretty bad. And a lot of these, all these guys have, experience in the NFL as a DC already. So anything is any which way I feel we go is up from here, honestly. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Where do we go from here? Well, I didn't even realize that Smitty that had don't popped out.
I guess he dropped out. Yeah, he
Yeah,
should be.
yeah, he probably dropped. Trying to get this camera together here. My goodness. But for me, man, I look at it. I have a question for you guys, honestly.
What you
As
got?
far as but now we've interviewed 4 guys. Of course, what I'm saying, lose. I think Steve Wilks is supposed to come next week, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Next
Okay,
week,
so
everybody else
so
is
next
done.
yeah, so everyone else has been done. Is there anybody out of this group of 4 who is necessarily a lock for you guys? Because I feel like we can find some asterisks about each and every candidate if
Right.
you look deep enough
Right.
and close enough.
Yeah.
So with everything, so everybody has had ups and downs, hit or misses. Who is necessarily like the lock for you guys though, if anybody?
Uh, Wait, so Chris, when you say who's the lock for us, do you mean like who we like is automatic we love, or you think the Falcons
I'm
is gonna be lock type of deal?
I'm think what I'm saying. Yeah, let me dive into it a little bit more. What I'm saying is for Falcon fans, like who is
Okay.
it the guy? Who's the guy that you look at him and you just be like, okay, yeah, he's the best candidate. He is the lock. Like he is the one that's going to take our defense to the next level. Like who is that guy for you guys? I know we said about the people that we like. I know you
Okay.
said you like Steve Wilks and everything like that, but is Steve Wilks the lock for you, Kerry?
Okay, you want me to go first? Well,
Hey,
gosh.
ladies first. Do your
For
thing.
me, I appreciate that.
Ladies first.
I feel I see some solace in the comments. To be honest, we haven't interviewed him yet. Not saying it won't happen, but
Mhm.
yeah, he would be a great candidate. But for me, I just feel like he's just almost like out of sight, out of mind for me because I feel like he most likely will get a head coach nod. He's most likely. I feel like he's almost not attainable, if that makes sense. So I'm trying not to
Mhm.
even think about that, at least until we get an interview confirmed. But
Yeah.
all that to say, I feel like a lock for me would be Wink Martindale.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe you guys can, n- give me some more knowledge on what his downfalls are. I do know he's very blitz heavy. That's what he's known for, which we have an issue getting to the quarterback in case anyone didn't know. So I feel like, hey, like that's great.
Mhm.
I feel like out of all these candidates, he has the most experience, both, um, in the college ranks and the pros and the NFL, multiple teams. And, he's been if I remember right, he's been the DC the longest as well. Well, I guess
Yeah.
There's Lou, who's been with the Bengals. So he's been with the Bengals a long time before he got fired. So,
Well,
oh,
well, for
sorry, go
Wink
ahead.
Martindale, Kieran,
Yeah.
as far as like he's the guy that has like out of these four guys, I think like the most experience. And then you got to remember he came
Right.
from the Ravens. He was the linebackers coach. This is the reason why I'll take Wink Martindale over Jeff Ulbrich any day. For
Okay.
one thing, Jeff specializes in linebackers, right? But Wink Martindale was a linebackers coach for 5 years with the Baltimore Ravens before he became their defensive coordinator. So, I mean,
Oh,
he has
okay.
experience in that. And also, Wink Martindale, if people remember, our quarterback now, Mr. Michael Penix Jr., had to play against Wink Martindale's defense in the national championship game against Michigan.
That's a
And
good
we all
point.
and we all know how that ended up.
That's a good
So
point.
so my thing is, if you do go get a Wink Martindale, someone who does have an aggressive approach on the defense, someone who does feature a lot of man coverage,
Oh yeah, that's
um,
what we need as well. That's another thing.
man, man coverage. So they're not going to be slacking off from those guys, giving them all that room to work and navigate on the field against us. And also, you can have a guy like Michael Penix Jr. going against a defense that, I guess, for lack of a better term, showed him up, showed
Right.
his flaws. I'm saying in the national championship game. Of course, it's a team game, but they rattled him. Let's just keep it real.
Right.
And for if you hire a guy like Wink Martindale, you have Michael Penix going against the defense that he struggled against, but it should help make him a better player.
Right.
So, so
Okay.
I mean, I love Steve Wilks. I ain't gonna lie to you, but if it was anybody who was that lock for me, it's Wink Martindale.
We're always on the same page, Chris. I feel like. Like we're
Hey man.
very a lot of times we're on the same page because Steve Wilkes is my favorite, but I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Wink is more of the lock. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Baltimore Ravens, when he was a linebacker coach as well as a DC, they had top 10 defense
Yeah,
and top
man.
5 scoring defense. And not just that, but I was looking at his resume and it's just extensive, you know. He has like over 20 years of experience. I really do appreciate that. And how you were mentioning the man coverage thing, I think that's one thing that the Falcons need. And, you know, talking about downfalls of like what you don't like about certain, you know, candidate, that's one thing I don't like about Lou because it seems as if the Bengals run a lot of zone coverage
Mm-hmm.
and bend don't break defense, and that's exactly what I don't really care for, and I feel like we were already dealing with. So that's one downfall I don't like about Lou personally.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't want to hear the term "bend but don't break" for the rest of my days on this planet. I'm just,
I hear you.
I'm
I hear
talking about for real. Hey
I
guys,
hear
I'll tell you this though too, and maybe Smitty can chime in on this as well. I know one thing that we have noticed outside of the experience thing, and you outside of the experience thing, and you probably can say, all right, maybe Ulbrich would probably be like the only exception to this. But if you notice, outside of just going for guys with experience now, we're going for guys who either one have a Super Bowl ring or two been to a Super Bowl. If you
I
notice
agree with
that,
that.
yeah, just with our four candidates. Go ahead, Smith.
Yeah, I'm like Kerry. I'm looking for experience, and that's why I like Wink Martindale also. Because Chris, if you remember, when we were doing the coaching search, Mike McDonald was my top guy because I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at what he did in Baltimore as a coach, and
Mm-hmm.
then what the type of culture that he brings. And we always talk about culture in sports. I think Wink Martindale, he could be that guy that bring that Baltimore culture to Atlanta. And also with Steve Wilks, he's been a defensive coordinator for 20 years now in the NFL. So experience is something that we definitely need. And if you get one of those guys, you got to bring in the right players to implement what they're trying to do. And I think the Falcons can do that because they'll have cap space to do it. So bringing in one of those veterans, man, is absolutely, absolutely the right move.
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
you.
John.
Oh,
Sorry, I was just saying
yeah,
hi.
that's
I
okay.
saw
That's
the
okay. How you doing,
pictures.
John? John Higgins. So here's my question, right?
One second.
I
Oh no, go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
you good? You good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Um,
good. I'm good.
all right. Who do you guys think would be the best as far as marrying the personnel and the X's and O's together, right? So, in other words, making sure that your scheme or system fits your players and what they do best. I felt like last year we struggled because, quite candidly, we were trying to run a 3-4 and we didn't have that big, ugly hog in the middle. And if you're going to run an effective 3-4, you need that hog in the middle. You need that big old dude that clogs up two blocks, that frees linebackers and other defensive linemen around them, and we just didn't have that. And it looked like when we switched to the 4-3 for that 4-game stretch that we maximized our resources. So, in the spirit of that, Chris, Smitty, Carey, give me your thoughts on who would be the guy most likely to marry the scheme to the personnel. And we can start with Chris.
Let's see. My bad. I was looking at something. Okay. Mm, See that's tough because you remember we had Steve Wilks looking at the defense last year, and he already kind of was getting an up and close look at the personnel. Um, but man, that's tough, man, because I still want to go with Wink Martindale. Like I still want to, just because I feel like he's seen the most. He has the most experience. I just really feel like it can be Wink, man. Like I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if it's the name Wink or what is it, but I just feel. I feel like even though, like I said, as much as I like Steve and as much as, and I have an interest in Lou, just because I feel like he's a mystery, it's just for me, man, like again, going back to somebody with experience, somebody who likes to get after the quarterback, somebody who can teach toughness, something that I think that we all need is just the guy that just looks like who just like he's ready to say, get off my lawn. And that's Wink Martindale. Yeah, that's
You're
Wink
like, get off
Martindale
my
for me,
lawn.
man. No, for real, man. Wink Martindale look like at any given time he can just bust out the front door and just be pointing at him. I told you youngsters, get off of my lawn.
Yeah, he
But
looks like it'd be a 12 gauge shotgun, and it wouldn't be the buckshot in it. It would not be the buckshot. So yeah, agreed. Kerry, give me your thoughts on who would be the most likely defensive coordinator to marry the scheme to the personnel. In other words, to match the best scheme to the personnel that we have.
So it's tough because I was gonna ask you guys, with Wink, in Baltimore was he known for, or even in New York, was he known for running a 3-4 defense or a 4-3? Do you know? For some reason I feel like he was known for 3-4. Is that right or am I wrong?
hold on, give me a second.
I think they ran a 3-4 in Baltimore when Ray Lou was there. I think.
Okay, I think it is a 3-4 as well, if I
I think
remember
so.
correctly. And so that's the only thing. How do you guys feel? Obviously, it's like it just depends on who we bring in, what we want to do. If we're gonna switch back again, so all this back and forth. Obviously, whatever the new defensive coordinator thinks is best for the guys we have and the guys we could possibly get in the draft and free agency, whatever he thinks is the best for us, to set us up for success with the personnel we have and what we can get.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm tired of switching schemes, and I'm sure the players that we have are too, constantly switching 4-3
Yeah,
now. Then we switch to
3-4.
3-4. Now we're gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
switch back to a 4-3 again. But so I say that to say I think he is a 3-4, so then it would stay the same, if it is Wink, and if that is true, I think it is 3-4. But um
Second.
I don't know. I also don't think that we have the personnel for a 3-4. As far as I know, it seems like
Well,
play
we're a
players
little
like,
light in the
yeah.
behind as far as that.
Say that again.
Yeah,
I
we are.
said
We are a little
we're a
light.
little light in the behind. You know what I'm saying, for the 3-4. Um, we could have went to play the 3-4 defense. We could have went and got some guys in the draft, some space eaters. But we decided to go other places. So it's just like really you look at the personnel and you just got to see where can you go from what you got. And a lot of guys are not going to be here. I'm trying to see if I can find if it's really a 4-3 or a 3-4 scheme for him.
So we
For
got some replies that answered us, like Berto, our guy Berto said he's a base 4-3 hybrid with
Yeah,
3-4
he's a 4-3
looks.
hybrid guy.
Okay.
4-3, okay.
Yeah, if you look at what he did in Cincinnati last year, that's basically what they ran. And honestly, he didn't have enough talent on that defense for it to be competitive. So I feel like his firing was not justified. But he can. He coaches. I think he's one of those defensive line guys. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. But he would be a nice hire. And if we looking at talent wise, I think Henderson is either on his last year or he's a free agent. So that would be a link to bringing in another defensive end too. So
Mhm.
the guy that I would be looking at is Wink Martindale as well, because as I said earlier, I look at culture, what he could bring as far as what he did in Baltimore. And I understand they had a lot of talent. But at the same time, you got to still be impressed with how he coached that talent. So if the Falcons bring in the proper talent for this defense, and don't forget, we getting Braylon Trice back next year. Ebiketie look like he's turning the corner. Um, so you look at those two guys, and you look at who we may bring in via free agent or the draft. I think he can get the job done. So Wayne Martindale would probably be my pick. But don't be surprised if former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo gets the job. Because if you're looking at what Grady Jarrett brings to this team, if they plan on keeping Jarrett till his contract is up, they would switch back to a 4-3 just to make him comfortable and just to make this team a little bit more competitive. Because if y'all didn't watch last year, the linebackers were pretty terrible. So to go back to a three linebacker set instead of a four, I think makes more sense if you're looking at it from the talent standpoint.
Right. And just to clean up my mess here, yes, it was Jesse Minter with the defensive coordinator right before, like, he left, and then Wink Martindale came in. So can't give him that credit as far as like with the Michael Penix thing. But it's still a defensive coordinator that comes from a hard nosed place, and I'm talking about the Baltimore Ravens. And again, like I said, I wouldn't mind taking that. Now, if I wanted to punch some holes into it, um, it's tic tac. But since some people can say, "Hey, man, Wink Martindale is 71 years old." Some people may want a younger defensive coordinator. Some people
Wait,
maybe wonder, "Hey, is Wink
sorry.
past his prime?"
Excuse me, Chris.
Go
Actually,
for it.
he's 61. I thought he was 71 as well. But then Wikipedia lied and said it was 71. And then that was my worry because I didn't want another Dean
Oh
P
wow.
situation. I dug
Mm-hmm.
deeper. And I looked at the Michigan website where, they hired him this past year and it had his,
Mm-hmm.
his extensive resume and it had his date of birth and he's actually only 61.
Only 61, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's good
Okay.
news.
Well, that's crazy because that's on. You said it's on Wikipedia. It's on multiple websites. Actually, him being 71, so it's a lot of misconception right there, man. People got to get it together. But yeah, man. So yeah, he is. But I'm seeing right here on that same site that you're saying, Wayndale is 61 years old, and with that
That's
being
good,
said, I mean, I feel like that puts him kind of like in the same category with everyone else. What Steve Wilks is like 55
Yeah.
or 56 or something
I,
like that.
right.
Lou
I think
Amarillo
he's
is around in that
59.
area too.
Yeah, he's 59, I think.
So it's just like you're not necessarily getting a guy that's too old, but are any of these guys' schemes figured out? Are any of these guys like losing touch of reality with the new offensive schemes that's coming out? Are you guys worried about any one of these guys bringing them in and possibly him just getting just dog walked because he's just out of touch?
Hmm.
Um, I wouldn't say out of touch. And that's probably why they went the young route with Jimmy Lake because they feel like he probably could bring a new wrinkle. But one thing about the game that never changed is fundamentals. And as long as these coaches can teach fundamentals, I think they'll be fine. It's just about the talent that you can put on the field. As I said with Baltimore, he had hella talent in Baltimore. I think any defensive coordinator could have coached that defense. But when you put the proper talent on the field and personnel to go along with what you're trying to do, I think any one of those guys can succeed because all they're doing is teaching the game and teaching schemes and what they want to do and what they want to implement. And if the players buy into it, it's a positive. So it's just all about putting the right talent on the field.
Mm. Okay. All right. So we talked about Wink. I think Lou was interviewed earlier today or at some point. What do we think about Lou Anarumo, guys, or Anarumo, or Big Lou, as I call him?
Um,
I can't pronounce his last name, so I'll call him Big Lou.
okay.
Carrie, let's start with you. What do we think about Big Lou? Positive, negatives? Give me your thoughts.
Okay. My positives. So I got family, friends that are Bengals fans, and of course I spoke to them to see what they thought. They thought it would be a great hire for us. Um, you know, he is known for his like defensive scheme being really creative genius, and the only problem that they told me they had with him this past season is that when players were playing kind of bad, like the veteran players and secondary or linebackers, they waited too long to maybe bench them and put in the young guys, which so and then the young guys came in and they were balling out. So but I agree with what Smitty said. They have lacked talent. They lost players like Jesse Bates in free agency. They lost DJ Reader, and the interior D line. They don't replace the talent. Those were arguably their two best defensive players. And then after the Super Bowl, they don't replace. They lose both of them because they're known to be a cheap franchise. They don't pay them, and then they don't replace them. So it's a tough situation.
They
You
cheat.
know, they're cheap. They're known to be
Cheat.
cheap. I mean, look at Jamar Chase. They waited to pay Jamar Chase last off season when they were in discussions. They couldn't reach an agreement, and now they're gonna have to back up the Brinks truck because he's
I'm
now the
trying to
Triple
tell you,
Crown winner.
you
So
big dummy. I mean, I'm joking. I'm joking though. But seriously though, man, you had the opportunity, and now you're gonna have to give Jamar more money.
Right, right.
Right.
So,
Congratulations.
right, exactly. And they're known for that. So for me, I do like Lou, I think he would be a good hire. He's definitely not at the top of my list, but I do think it would be an upgrade, obviously. But what worries me is that he sometimes, maybe doesn't want to make the decision to put in the younger talent if the older talent is struggling, and also he does that bend don't break defense so in zone coverage, and I'm not really a fan, but that's
Fan.
just me. So but I do like that, maybe just 2 years ago he was getting head coaching nods, he was in the mix for head coaching interviews. So he's definitely not a bad DC in my opinion. They just Cincinnati, they're like, it reminds me a lot of Matt and Julio days where it's like none of the focus is on the defense, okay? And he kind of just got the short end of the stick as far as money being spent and talent being added to the defensive side of the ball. Their secondary is very young, so I just feel like somebody had to be the fall man essentially between Jamar and Burrow having the seasons they had and then missing the playoffs. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't get a fair shot, fair shake. They didn't really have a whole lot of talent on that defense. Trey Hendrickson has been their lone soldier out there as far as getting to the pass rush, and he's man, he's just a game wrecker. I absolutely am a big fan of Trey Hendrickson, and that's one thing that I do think about. I do think about that as well, as far as like, well, if you do bring him in, is there any kind of way that he can call up Trey and be like, hey, come on down here to Atlanta with me? Because I would love to have a guy like that in our defense for sure. Another
Amen.
thing about Lou, another thing about Lou too is, of course, he has that relationship. Kerry has already mentioned it. I know you guys mentioned it last night on One Time for the Fan. Is like the relationship he has with like Jesse Bates.
Right.
Jesse Bates calls Amarillo the Italian mad scientist.
Right.
So that was another thing that he did. He had had a family oriented type of defense, so everybody played for one another. Of course, saying again, and I mean he's 4-3 too. I mean he's a 4-3 as well. So as far as like early downs, like he likes those 4-3 fronts. And that's another thing as well. You can think about, you'll be changing the scheme, of course, but you'll have that defensive mind. You'll have somebody who's familiar with Jesse Bates. I just don't want the Falcons to necessarily just fall into, oh, well, saying he coached Jesse Bates. He must be going to be all right when he come down here. I don't want it to necessarily feel like that. I want the Falcons to
Um,
do their full due diligence and make the best possible choice that they can, because starting with this hire right here, this is the type of hire that's is going to get people extensions or it's going to get people fired. So you
Right.
got to. I'm just saying. So you got to do your due diligence. We can't have just some kind of some just some bozo coming in here with a name and not making our defense better. Because at the end of the day, I'm sorry, no matter if it's Lou Amarillo, Jeff Ulbrich, Steve Wilks, or somebody else that we haven't even interviewed yet.
Right.
Because there's still the possibility that you may get another interview. I like Jim Schwartz, but that's a whole different conversation.
I like him too.
Yeah, yeah, I
We're
like
talking
Schwartz.
about blitz heavy. He likes the blitz. He
Yeah,
loves blitz.
but it's not a guarantee that we're going to be able to get him, and it's also not a guarantee that, like, I don't want the Falcons to necessarily miss out on a candidate because they're trying to wait on a candidate and
Right.
miss out on a good candidate too. So it's just like, regardless, Falcons, do your due diligence. This is that time right here. You got to get this defense right, because we see what we can be on offense. We just want a complete team now. We have to put together a complete team. Starts with this defensive coordinator hiring. Like, again, either somebody's going to get an extension or somebody's getting fired.
Right. I know everybody loves, the sack leader and the league leading sack leader and Trey Hendrickson, but for
Mm-hmm.
me, I don't know. I just feel like so do I, and I would absolutely love to have him, for the Falcons, but realistically, I don't know. I just feel like he wants to get paid. He wants a multi-year deal, and I just feel like we don't have the money for that. for one. And for two, I just don't think the Bengals are going to, I mean, maybe they will because they're a cheap organization as far as playing their players, but I just feel like they're not going to make that same mistake. Bengals fans highly regret letting Jesse Bates go, okay? They know they made a mistake by letting us take him. So, and same thing with DJ Reader because they haven't been able to replace him either. So, I just feel like three times in a row you're going to let your best defensive player go. I just don't. I feel like they're going to pay him what he wants. And unfortunately, Lou, the best he'll be able to bring us is a guy like Sam Hubbard. And probably you don't want to hear that, but I've been joking with people like when they tell me they want him to bring Trey Hendrickson, I'm like, the best I can do is Sam Hubbard because that might be the realistic happening because I think they're looking to come up off Sam Hubbard because he's getting older. So yeah.
Well, Sam Hubbard wouldn't be a bad pick either, though. As
Yeah.
long as you put talent around him, he'll be fine.
Right.
But the thing about Sam is more of a 4-3 end. So that's what I'm saying. We get Lou. I could see us switching back to a 4-3. And like I said, if Grady Jarrett's future, his last 2 years in Atlanta, are going to happen. You got to put him in a situation for him to succeed. As y'all have seen in the last couple of years, he hasn't really played good in the 3-4. He's made
Right.
flashes here and there, but as far as being the Grady Jarrett that we know, the best Grady Jarrett that you're going to get is in a 4-3. So yeah, so that's going to be the key going forward.
My thing is too, the defensive coordinator that comes in, no matter who he is, do you guys think that any one of those guys that'll come in and just say, "Hey, look, I know you guys love Grady Jarrett and all, but he got to go so we can make some more moves and I can have more moves for this defense." Do y'all see anybody coming in saying that?
No. I mean,
No, if
Go ahead.
anything, it'll be Terry Fontenot that says that.
Right.
Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day,
Yeah.
he got to make the final decision on how he want to tune his roster up. And if he need that $16 to go get a pass rusher or offensive lineman or whatever they need, he's going to do that. Because at the end of the day, it's about winning football games. That's why I say don't fall in love with players because each and every season they're gonna want their money. So if they want their money, then and you can't pay them to build the right team. And hey, he's got to go, man. His business is just business.
Right.
Without a doubt. I don't know that. You know what? I'd love to get with the capologist and discuss what our options are, because obviously we're going to have to make some moves. I think we have what, 7 million in cap space.
Yeah, right now, but
yeah. So obviously
that's in the bottom 5.
Yeah. So obviously moves are going to have to be made. Maybe you can extend some guys, rework some contracts. You'll probably have to cut a few. And look at, maybe you trade Kyle Pitts, right? If for nothing else, I think that's the main motivator to trade Kyle and or Kirk, because that could free up money as well as retrieve draft picks. So I don't know what moves will need to be made, but I would imagine Grady could be, because I don't think you can get rid of Onyemata because his cap hit is like 12.
You won't save anything.
Like that. Yeah,
it's 8 million. It's 8 million if you cut him, but you still got to pay the 8 million in dead cap space. So it's like breaking even.
Right. Yep. That's exactly what it will be, breaking even. But that's the thing about even Kyle Pitts. There's reports out that it was a guy, I think Ben Slowick. He came out with the article saying that he predicts the Falcons making a draft trade to where Kyle Pitts is traded away for a day 3 pick. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that don't make me feel good. A day 3 pick for somebody
Chris, is that the article about him going to the Bengals? I think I saw that as well.
Yeah,
about him getting traded to the Bengals for a day 3
Man,
pick.
if we get a day 3 pick for Kyle Pitts, I DDT Terry Fontenot and Tommy Dimitro.
Man, what? I'm talking about all of them. He said, I'm just gonna go get Thomas
DDT both of them.
What makes me sick?
Because
what makes me sick about that situation is that that could possibly happen. Honestly, I feel like his stock is low, but I feel like a change of scenery is needed for Kyle. And it might be in the best interest of both the Falcons and Kyle Pitts. And what sucks about it is the value is low, the stock is low, but I feel like a change of scenery could really benefit him and he could ball out on another team. I
Possibly.
don't know. So,
I mean, I don't think that's a far fetched take to that. You know, a change of scenery. We've seen a change of scenery helps a lot of guys, right?
yeah.
It's a possibility that may be for Kyle, but the only thing is he's due 10.8 million this year. We don't have draft picks, and we do have to make this team better. So I understand, since the notion to possibly trade Kyle Pitts, but also we can't forget about the other side of it too. We still have a quarterback that possibly could get the best out of him. He hasn't lived up since Matt Ryan, but let's just be honest, we haven't had an arm like Michael Penix since really Matt Ryan. I mean, I guess you can say Kirk Cousins for a second, but they didn't have any kind of continuity, chemistry, anything. They didn't have any connection. We've seen that. Like the best game he had was the game that he got set in the second half, and that was National Tight Ends Day. So
Right.
he just didn't have it. He
Oh,
just didn't have it. What I'm just saying, man, bro. Look,
Oh
we
wow!
already know why he got set in
Oh
that
wow!
second half because that
Oh
touchdown was
wow!
just too close, man.
jeez.
Man, listen, you just can't do
But
that.
if you also look at the last 3 games when Michael Penix was in that quarterback, Kyle looked like a different person.
Right.
So like you said, Chris, it just may be that he needs a quarterback that can get him the football. Because you look at Mariota, Heineke,
Jeez.
Desmond Ritter, they didn't really do much to put him in a winning situation. But from the jump, I've been telling y'all, you get a guy that high, you got to build an offense around him. And if he's the key focal point of the offense, I think that makes Bijan better. That makes Drake London better. So they got to think about that this offseason. If y'all not
So,
gonna put him in a position to succeed, yeah, he got to go. There's no way
Smitty,
around it.
do you think
Go
that
ahead.
they don't make him a focal point? Because to me, what you're saying makes complete sense. And you would think, the organization taking him at 4, they would know this as well. Like, hello,
Right.
like we gotta, make this guy a focus. We took him at 4. That's very high, and we skipped on some
Not not
major
not
talent.
only
So,
that, Carrie. Not
yeah,
only that, by him being picked at number 4, you look at what kind of mismatch he is. You look
right,
at safeties and linebackers; they're about at average 6 feet for the linebacker. Well, 6'1" for the linebackers, 5'11", 5'10", 5'11" for a cornerback and a safety. And if you look at size, he's 6'6", 250, 83-inch wingspan. Who's going to stop that? Nobody on the field can stop that. So
right.
by them not being able to use his measurables, that was a disappointment to me as far as the offensive coordinator not doing it. And Zach Robinson should know better because he's been around for a while and long enough to know Raheem Morris as well. Uh, Look at what he did in Los Angeles with Puka Nakua, a rookie coming in and having 1,700 yards a rookie season. And you mean to tell me you can't game plan for a tight end that's twice his size?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Mhm.
In LA, was the tight ends a focal point? I honestly can't tell you who their
No,
tight end was.
it was
Oh,
Tyler.
Well,
It was
well,
Tyler Higsby.
oh,
The tight
yeah,
Higsby.
end, the
Okay.
tight end was not a
he
focal point
produced.
Okay.
in
He,
LA.
he yeah, he wasn't a focal point, but he produced.
Okay.
Jared Everett when he was there, he produced.
Okay.
So it's just all about getting the tight end into the playbook just a little bit more, and I don't think they did that with Kyle Pitts. And we all know Kyle Pitts can't block. He can't even slap
Mm.
nobody on the shoulder and tell him to turn around.
Which is
Come on
crazy
now.
because he's such a mismatch and he's so big. I remember like one of the home games he happened to walk near me and I was like, "Oh my." It's just you see players on TV,
Oh
or
man.
on the field, but up close
Hey,
is
I
like,
saw him at training
"Wow."
camp.
Yeah,
I was
Hmm.
standing in front of him at training
he's
camp.
a
I had to
big
look up.
guy.
Yeah, I mean he's 6'6". I mean that's another reason why we trip so much about how he's not being used. So he's got the size. I mean he's got the height. Like what the heck is going on? Why we can't get him the ball? Now I know he's not the best route runner. I ain't never said that.
Right.
It's only honestly about like 3 or 4 routes that he really is good at. Of course, we know that corner route. That's number one. But it's only certain routes that he can run.
Yeah, he
So
killed that wheel route too. Yeah, he
yeah,
killed
yeah,
that
yeah.
wheel.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's just certain things that he's good at. You can put him in one-on-one situations, but it's like how much do you trust him? Like, do the
That's
coach? That's the coaching staff. Do the coaching
Well,
staff trust him to be in those situations?
that's a great point, Chris. But think about it. He's got to work on fundamentals on the field as well because we talked about it. When you look at guys like Rob Gronkowski, Tony Gonzalez, some of the best tight ends of all time,
Hmm.
um, you got to learn to use your body to block off defenders. You got to learn to
Right.
be physical at the line of scrimmage and find holes in the zone. And that's just something that he can't do well. Now, what he does do well is like a wide receiver. He can catch the football in stride and make plays. But as far as just sitting down in the zone, he's just not good at that. So it's just some things he's got to work on as well.
Yeah.
what happened. It seemed like I mean, maybe it was the fall off was when Kirk fell off, but I feel like we were kind of featuring him, you know, on these like deeper passes, kind of like the Mooney, when we would throw the deep passes with Kirk. But I feel like we were,
Mhm.
featuring him some because how many he had 600 yards, 4 touchdowns this season. I could be wrong, but I
It's
feel like
somewhere
he
in that
was being
range.
used, but then it kind of fell off, and then Kyle Pitts kind of his usage went completely down. I don't know what happened if that had to do with Kirk or what, but
I think he pissed
Yeah,
off.
but
I think he
yeah.
pissed off probably Zach Robinson and Kirk. Because here's the thing, right? 70% of your throws that you make in the NFL, you don't see what happens, right? Because you're throwing it before the receiver makes his break. So if
Mhm.
you're a receiver or a tight end, I need you to be where you're supposed to be at the time you're supposed to be there. And if you can't do that, right? If it's 3rd and 7 and the hot says for you to run a go and you run a hitch or you run a curl and I throw it, which we've seen them that happen many times, then ultimately I'm going to get to the point I can't trust you, right? Because
Right.
again, most of these passes that you're going to throw, it's not like backyard football where you sit there and you're like, hey, T Will, I'm open. No, these are professionals. So if
Yeah.
you're running a 10-yard out, I am throwing it. I'm looking at the coverage. You're in cover 2. The book on cover 2 is behind the cornerback in front of the safety. I got to trust that you're going to be exactly where I need you to be. And if you can't be there,
The
what's
ball
the
may be going the other way.
there you go. So I think that is and again, yes, sometimes Kyle is open, but if you're not consistent, right? If I can't trust you,
right.
you get what I'm saying?
But
I think
sometimes,
I think
but
that's a part
sometimes,
of it.
but
Yeah.
sometimes consistency also depends on how many catches, how many targets you get in a game. Because let's be real, he goes out there and plays probably 40, 50 plays a game, and you only get look your way 3 times. That will make that person feel like, hey man, what am I here doing? I ain't got number 3 targets, and I know I'm
And
an
I feel
advantage
like,
on the football field. It
right.
just don't it doesn't add up.
I feel like Smitty, you're
Right.
right. Like he does feel like that. You could tell looks defeated sometimes, and I feel like that's
Right.
only the reason why I said maybe the change of scenery.
But
But
also guys, let's just keep it real though, y'all.
mhm.
Okay. On our jobs, right? On our job, whatever we possibly do to make money. If we're not getting the simple tasks or anything like that, are we gonna like stop, what I'm saying, working hard? Are we gonna like is that a part of basically my point is what I'm about to get to is work ethic. If you
Yes.
got work, if you got work
Yes.
ethic, even if you are going out there 100 darn snaps and not getting one target, at the end of the day, on when snap 1-on-1 goes out, guess what you're gonna be doing? Still hitting it 100 miles per hour, and you may end up
Right.
getting the ball.
Right.
That's just
Right.
work ethic. At the end
Right.
of the day, like some of these cats nowadays are just not used to real work ethic. Everything is not going to go your way. You're going to have days, weeks, months where sometimes things don't go your way. But the work ethic, the willingness to continue to go after, to continue to grind, that is, what I'm saying, builds what character is built off of, what integrity is built off of. So
Mm-hmm.
my thing is, if I do get one catch in the beginning, and then I don't see no more into the fourth quarter. And the fourth quarter, I'm still hitting my routes and I'm still hitting my angles and my cuts. But that's just me. I'm speaking about what I would do. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is not me. Everybody is not a lot of people in the chat that go
Right,
to
Chris,
work,
I was
you
gonna
know what
say
I'm saying,
you're
and
built
everything.
different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
Like
saying, like, everybody is
younger
not
guys
me.
aren't built like that.
Everybody is not. I mean, shoot, I'm just saying, like, it's people that's
Right,
watching this stream like that right now that's built like what I'm saying. Like, they go out and
right,
they do their job. They go out and they handle
right,
their business. They don't always feel like it, no, but they know that they got to put either food on the table, food in, you know what I'm saying, food in people's mouths, clothes on people's back. They gonna go out and do what they got to do. That's what Kyle has to do. He has
Yeah.
to
right.
go out and do what he's supposed to do, even if he doesn't get the ball. That's what builds trust. That's what builds, you know, continuity and everything, and will give a person who doesn't know where the throws are going to be going 60% of the time that you will still be there because I see you hitting them, even though I'm not really getting you the ball. That's work
Right.
ethic. That's on Kyle. You can't just put that on anybody else. That's on
Right.
Kyle, though.
Right. Smitty, let me ask you this question, right? And because it's to Chris's point, right? But let's say, Smitty, you're my quarterback and I'm your receiver, right? And you call a 10-yard out and I run a slant. And I do this 3 or 4 times a game. It's fourth and gotta have it, right? It's fourth and gotta have it. Either we get it or we lose. Are you trusting me? Are you even looking for me in that, regardless of how talented I am? Are
Well,
you looking for me in that scenario?
Well, to that point, T. Will, yes. And want to know why? Because on 4th down, when we had to have it in Washington, where did that ball go?
It went
Straight
to
to Kyle
Kyle.
Pitts.
It did go to Kyle.
And what was the result?
That was
It was a
Touchdown.
amazing.
touchdown.
Okay,
That
okay,
was
all
amazing,
right,
honestly.
all
Okay.
And
right. Now,
see,
now, now
that
we talking. Now we talking.
But
that
in
goes back to
most
my
cases, are you going to me, right? Because I promise
if
you,
you
he
open,
probably grabbed
if
Kyle
you
by the
open,
face
I'm
mask
going.
and said,
I
look,
mean, my
I
thing,
need you to
is
run an
if
in cut. I need you.
the
Let me
man
make
is
sure.
open, give him the ball because that was perfect. And I'm gonna
It
tell you
was
why it
perfect.
was perfect
It
because
was perfect,
you seen Kyle was able to shield his body off away from the
right?
defender, and
Right.
that ball was placed in there. It was that ball was placed right in there. That was precision right there.
And
And,
actually,
and
he had
honestly,
three key
let's just
catches
be
on that
honest,
drive.
right?
Yeah,
And
he had
let's
two
just be
catches on that
honest
drive.
now. Let's just be honest, guys. If that was Kirk Cousins in there, I don't think he throws Kyle Pitts that ball.
Oh no, he
Oh
can't make
no.
that throw. He can't make it.
That was an
That
amazing
part
throw.
too,
Tight
but
end
I
head,
don't think
yeah.
even if he could make the throw, I don't think it was going to Kyle Pitts. I feel like it would have been like a fade or something to the pylon of the end zone with Drake London. They would probably try to go somewhere else. I don't think it would have went to Kyle Pitts. I really don't. So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm still optimistic about keeping Kyle Pitts because we have Michael Penix who can get him the football. I mean, that's my thing is you drafted him 4th overall. I think you owe it to yourself to exhaust every single option to try to get this man, you know what I'm saying, to be in the upper echelons of tight ends like we expected him to be. Because it's just
Right.
like
Agreed.
a
And
a
honestly,
day 3 pick, that's a butt.
Yeah, that's
That's
not
a
worth
waste.
it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's
and
not even
honestly,
worth
Chris,
it.
I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. If we don't get nothing less than a second round pick for him, I'm not trading nowhere. He gonna stay here, and
Right.
we gonna see what Michael Penix can do with him. Cause
Okay.
honestly, man, look, them not putting Kyle Pitts, getting Kyle Pitts into the end zone consistently at 6'6", that did him a disservice. When they're in the red zone, true enough, they got the running backs to run the ball in the end zone. But you have Drake London and Kyle Pitts as well. You have two 6'4" taller wide receivers that can out jump defensive backs. See, some of this has been the Falcons quarterback fault. By not trusting their receivers. Back shoulder fades, corner routes in the end zone. I mean, you got to use that height and that size some kind of way. So you got the game plan built in the red zone. And I think Zach Roberts can do that because he showed y'all he can do that. Like Chris said, like Kerry said, Kirk Cousins does not make that throw in Washington. Why? Because he
No,
doesn't have the arm strength to make that throw.
no, he
He's
doesn't.
So
not doing
yeah, so you got to look at it like Chris said. You just got to think about it deep because if you give him away for a third round pick, you simply saying I messed up. I need to make a change, and really Sam Laporta is making his whole offensive coordinator and staff look bad because he was a second round pick, and he already has more touchdowns than Kyle Pitts in one season.
Bro, did you see what Brock
That's
Bowers
sick.
just did?
That's sick.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, you seen what Brock Bowers just did.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you see Trey McBride? Even though the Cardinals didn't have the best year, Trey McBride still was getting targets down there. I feel like Kyle Pitts, as far as a starting tight end, and I would love, I would love to look this up actually because I don't have it in front of me, but I can almost guarantee Kyle Pitts is at least bottom 20 when it comes to tight end production. If you just talk about stats and
Probably
numbers,
so. Probably
Jeez.
so.
I'm
Maybe
just saying, like, what?
Well, he caught 60. He had 60. How many receptions did he have this year? I don't know if he'd be bottom 20. He might
I'm
be
just
middle
saying,
of the
just
road.
like
He
may be,
middle of the road.
he may be. Like I said, I don't have it in front of me,
Yeah,
but I know where he's not. I know he's probably not in the top 10.
I pulled it up. He had 47 receptions, 602 yards. He averaged 12.8 yards a catch, and he had 4 touchdowns.
Right. And that's a
Yeah,
crazy
one
stat
for
too,
each
because he had one
Yes.
touchdown pretty
Yeah,
much
one.
for each year. He had 4 this year, 3 last year, 2
So
before that,
next
and
year
1
we're
in this
getting
year.
5, Chris. We're getting
We're
5
getting
next year.
5 from Kyle Pitts.
We're getting 5.
Getting
So,
5
hey,
touchdowns.
Kyle has a 59.6 PFF ranking, which is basically middle of the road, right? So he's not. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. He was just kind of middle of the road. Look, he's got the physical traits to be a superstar, but at the end of the day, he's got to have the want to. I agree. He probably needs to be targeted more, but like Chris, it comes down to work ethic. And look, maybe we can put it together next year. I mean, Penix is dynamic. Penix is awesome, and I think Penix makes guys want to get open. You know what I mean? I know looking at the body language of the receivers, they just seem to be so happy to have somebody to get them the ball. I think he's going to be dynamic this year. Smitty, let me ask you this question.
Real quick. Hold it. Put a pin in it real quick. I got the numbers for you right here.
All right,
I got the numbers for you. Okay. So if we're talking about as far as yards goes, Kyle Pitts is the 13th tight end with 602 yards.
Out of how many?
Right? Out of hold on. I got you. Out of 32 starting tight ends.
Okay.
Now, receptions. Out of 32 starting tight ends. Kyle Pitts is number 22.
Okay.
Of course, we already know who's number 1. Brock Bowers, and I just said Troy McBride, who had 111 catches.
Right.
Wow.
Targets. I bet Kyle Pitts is at the bottom of this list too.
But
Middle of the road. He's at 15.
I mean, receptions though. I just feel like we have so many we have so many different weapons.
There you go.
Compared to like, for example, the Cardinals. I mean,
Cardinals don't have nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand why he almost has double the targets.
Right. But here's where it starts getting better for Kyle Pitts. The average amount of yards per catch. He's number 3. 12.8.
And that's because of his size.
Yep, that's what you get. Of course, we're not going to talk about touchdowns because we already know, I mean, he was still 13th in that regard, but we already know we ain't got to worry about rushing yards and none of that crazy mess like that. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, Kyle Pitts right there, just that average amount of yards, being able to have 12.8 yards per catch. He was only behind the Packers' Tucker Kraft at 14.1, who actually got 3 more receptions, but not as many targets as Kyle Pitts. And you got George Kittle, who was number 1 with averaging almost 15 yards per catch, 78 receptions, 94 targets. Average amount of yards.
And Brock Purdy doesn't have a strong arm. He's just accurate.
Yep. Average amount of yards. Kyle Pitts averaged 35 yards per game for the Atlanta Falcons. That is crazy. Only 35 yards per game. And that ranked him Hold on, if I can get over to see it. Okay, and that ranked Kyle Pitts as number 17 in the NFL. And this is just straight tight end stuff. You know, just straight tight end facts, tight end stats. So I'm just saying, like, and you got guys on here who don't have as good as a quarterback as we have now. I think honestly, you go into this last year and you try to see if you can make it work with Kyle Pitts. And if it's not working by the trade deadline, then try to see what you can do.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
the thing about
I'm just saying if he's trashed by the trade deadline, then
if you wait that long, then you're gonna get cheated.
That's the problem.
You get shortchanged at
That's
the deadline all the time. Because that to me, that's just a panic move. If you trade him at the deadline, you're not getting that better than the fifth. Let's just keep it real.
That's the problem. That is the very problem right there, Smitty. That's why, you know, so that's why we tag team partners, man. You know, so I just lob it up, you go get it. I'm D Wade and hitting that's LeBron. As crazy as that may look visually, but you know, that's what's going on.
Hey, John, out of your Falcon mind, I agree. Positionless football, I didn't agree with that. Because like I said, no matter if you're positionless or what, the game don't change. The fundamentals the same. So you can call positional football what you want. Kyle Pitts is a hybrid tight end / wide receiver, and I feel like they should take advantage of what he offers as far as a football player. Yeah, he can be lazy, but to get that lazy off of him, target him more. You know, challenge him. If you challenge him, he ain't got no choice but to get better.
True.
No, I definitely explain that. I mean, I understand that though. But yeah, man, shout out to your Falcon mind, man. John and Michael.
John.
Yeah, man. Shout out to those guys, man, over there. If y'all missed their final show, you missed a treat, man. You need to go back and watch that.
Yes, we went back and rewatched it. It was so good.
It was. It really was. It was great, man. Great show, great guys, and definitely going to be sorely missed. Guys, let me ask you about. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Smitty.
T. Will, Antonio got a question before we go on.
All right. Question
right below
for the panel.
Mm-hmm.
Question for the panel. Regardless of who we bring in at DC, do you think the success of the defense depends on who we bring in, or can they coach up what we already have? That is a good question. And that kind of lends itself to what we discussed earlier in we need a defensive coordinator that can marry a scheme to his players, right? So the reason you need a guy with experience, and to me this sounds a lot like Wink, is you know your defense so well, you can do a 3-4, you can do a 4-3, but you marry that to what your players do best, right?
Right.
So it depends on the coach. It depends on the coach. If you get a good enough defensive coordinator, I would agree. Smitty, what do you say?
I definitely agree, man. Honestly, you're gonna have to work with what they put on the field, and that's with any team. So what the Falcons have to do, they have to go out and get an edge rusher that's going to be sort of a game changer. They've got to make a splash at the defensive end position. No matter if it's a 4-3 or a 3-4, they've got to make a splash for one of these coaches to come in and make this defense at least a top 15 defense. Because with the offense that we put up this year, if we can get to being a top 15 defense or below that, I think this is easily a playoff team. So it's just all about what the coach can come in with the personnel that they put on the field. And this is also why I said if you're going to roll with Grady Jarrett to the end of his contract, switch back to a 4-3 where he's strong at. Because you drafted Ruke Onyemata, he's a 4-3 in as well, so he can play either 3-4 or 4-3. So it's just all about personnel at the end of the day.
Guys, I know times have changed. It's been a long time. You know, a lot can happen in 10 years, so to speak, you know, give or take. But I just remember the Falcons, when we went to the Super Bowl, our defense was poor.
It was.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if we can get a top 15 defense with the potential offense that we have, I'm not going to say Super Bowl. I'm not going to jump off the mountain and go that far, but playoffs should be easy with a top 3 seed.
Agreed. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Look, with what we've seen from this offense and just the potential that they have, it's possible that we can score 35 points a game. Now, with that being said, we did not face the best defenses in the NFL. That needs to be said. But also, we didn't have a full assortment of plays. Penix was in there for 3 games. I think with the full offseason, with study, with preparation, I think this offense is going to be good. Miss Carey, I know you have to leave us. Can you tell everyone in the chat where they can find you and go ahead and give your shout outs?
Yeah, shout out to you, T. Will, Chris, Smitty, everybody in the chat for supporting the show. I appreciate you guys. And I'm so happy to talk to you guys today about Falcons football. You can catch me tomorrow morning on One Time for the Fan, Breakfast with One Time for the Fan. And yeah, I'm on Twitter talking Falcons always, so you can find me on there as well. Thank you, guys.
Hey,
Thanks,
man.
Gary.
Thank you for
Thanks
coming through.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
All
See
right.
ya.
All righty. So, guys, what do we think about Jeff Ulbrich? And Smitty, I'll throw it to you. I know my thoughts, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on him as a potential hire and just what you think he would bring and basically pros and cons. Go ahead, Smitty.
I'm not a fan of retread, and my boy Berto, we talked about this already, and Chris. I would have to say no to Ulbrich, and the only reason why is because as I look at what he did when he was here, he had a pretty decent run with the Falcons. But to me, he's just not one of those guys I think is going to change the culture of what we need. We need a fresh voice. We need somebody in here that's also a veteran, somebody that gives us a new voice with these players, somebody new that they can believe in. Because if you bring back Ulbrich, some of these players were on the team, such as Grady Jarrett and some of these other guys were on the team when Ulbrich was here. So you're really not changing up. You just retread. And if you're going to retread, I will honestly go back to Ryan Nielsen and try to get him to come back. Why? Because the defensive line played much better under him. So I'm not going to go Ulbrich. If anything, I'm going Nielsen if I'm a retread. But honestly, I just think they need a new voice in the locker room as a defensive coordinator. That's just my thoughts.
Don't do it. That's how I feel about Jeff Ulbrich. Don't do it. It's just my thing is like again, like, and I don't like the retreads and all that stuff like that anyway. You know, I've never been a fan of that stuff. You know, at different positions, okay, but no, you know what I'm saying? Ulbrich, you know what I'm saying? It was nice when he was here. We already have done the retread in a way by going to get Raheem, no matter how you feel about the hire, whether you love it or hate it, we still went and did that. So there's no point in going back, bringing back the band. This ain't DX. You know what I'm saying? There's no point in bringing back the band again like this NWO. No, this is football, y'all. Let's go ahead and get some continuity with the guys that we have. Okay, you want to keep Zach Robinson? Okay, keep Zach Robinson. But Zach Robinson has got to move forward the next year. But you have to have a defense to complement this offense. You have to have a guy that's going to come in here and play the guys who are showing up every Sunday, not just a name. You know, I say like because we got guys that we did not see a whole lot of last year that I would have liked to see more of, just because things wasn't working with some of the veterans. So, guys, regardless, we need competence at that defensive coordinator position, somebody that knows what he's doing, somebody that can make in-game adjustments, in-game scheme adjustments, all those things. And, you know, that's why, like, you know, I don't think Ulbrich is the answer for that. Maybe one of the other guys, like a Wilks, like a Amarillo, like a Wink Martindale, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't feel like Jeff Ulbrich is the guy to do that. He'll have the linebackers probably together. I do believe in him for the linebackers, but that about it for me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
We got a historian in here.
We got another superstar that's joining us tonight. Obviously, we have A1 and Smitty, and you guys are superstars in your own right. And look, I'm just the role player along for the ride. But ladies and gentlemen, we got Mr. Ryan, the historian, who's probably forgotten more than some of us will ever know. Ryan, welcome to the show. And my question for you is your thoughts on Jeff Ulbrich as our new defensive coordinator. Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to keep it simple. We're going to say no to the second power.
My brother.
Hell no. If
My
you want to bring that back here, guess what? You're gonna be sitting here crying and complaining again. Here's the thing. Sometimes you have to start fresh. Sometimes you can't go back down that route. It's just like breaking up with a girlfriend.
That's it.
Or for the ladies out here. If you're breaking up with a boyfriend, you might have had some great moments with that person at the time. You might have had moments to where you sit back and say, you know, I missed this part of the relationship, but I want you to go back and really look at why you broke up in the first place. Let's go ahead and talk about it. You fired him. You had a chance to keep him here, but guess what? You let him go for obvious reasons. Why would you want to bring that back? I have already said this, and I'm going to probably say it again tonight on my show. I said Steve Wilks has got to be a guy that you got to bring in here. He's been around the team for number one. He's been in the building with the team, watching them practice, helping out here and there. Why wouldn't you want him and Jerry Gray to be together when you talk about masterminds of defense? Think about it. Steve Wilks got a Carolina team to damn near get to the playoffs.
Yep.
The same year in the middle of the season that Matt Rule was fired.
Yep.
They beat us. The infamous Marcus Mariota game on the ground throwing. Everybody remembers that meme.
But fumble too.
So all I'm saying is, why wouldn't you go after a guy that took a team that was dead in the water, got them to one game of the division title and the playoffs? Unfortunately, lost to the Aints. Then he goes to San Francisco. Chase Young was a disciplinary problem for a lot of coaches. Think about that. Washington got him in the first round and got rid of him, sent him to San Francisco. Guess who got this kid to play well? Steve Wilks. Got the best out of him. One of the best performances in a losing effort since Thomas Hollywood Henderson. For you young folks that don't know about that or whatnot, look him up. He was Lawrence Taylor before Lawrence Taylor. And yes, he was a coke fiend, just like Lawrence Taylor. The difference was his career was a little bit shorter than Lawrence's, but that was Lawrence Taylor's idol. So when you look at that, Chase Young had one of those games, because if you go back and look at that 1978 Super Bowl, that dude Hollywood Henderson had a hell of a game that day. A hell of a game. Chase Young had that same type of impact. He went from being a distraction to where he was challenged by somebody who pushed him to the next level. Why would you not want a guy in this building that's respected around the league that would challenge this defense? Hell, I'll give you another guy that you can go look at. He wants to get back into coaching. Now, he wants to be a head coach, but I still say you test the waters. Look at Rex Ryan. Man won a Super Bowl with Baltimore's defense. He just never had a quarterback. He's always had a defense. So I'm mentioning guys that nobody's talking about. Everybody's talking about Wilks. Everybody's talking about Robert Saleh. Saleh is going to be a head coach. He's gonna sit for 1 year. He ain't going to be around. Let it go.
I think he's doing interviews for head coaches now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I think Robert
might be in Jacksonville.
Robert, yeah. Honestly, I want them to go get not Canales, Liam Cohen. I want the Jacksonville to go get Liam Cohen. Go ahead and get him out the NFC South, because I ain't gonna lie to you. I think he's a decent offensive coordinator for real. How he revamped that offense when they lost Chris Godwin and still getting them to the playoffs the way they almost won out, guys. They lost one game. And it was like, and that's terrible. But also, I mentioned earlier too, Ryan, what you think about this name. Now you're gonna have to wait. We'll have to wait around. But Jim Schwartz.
I'm not waiting to put my defense together for number one. If he's available, he's available. If he's not available, hey, I need somebody that's going to be here. I need somebody in the building, and I need someone to start hashing out the plan of action of how we're going to draft. It's a reason I'm wearing this North Carolina A&T hat, folks. It's a reason why. It's a little subliminal message, but those who watch the show, you already know. I support HBCUs on top of, being a dog fan. Even though Southern University is a school I love, my mentor went to school here at A&T, so, lots of love there. But I'm just going to give you this here. You only have 5 picks right now in the draft with limited money.
Yeah.
Limited money.
Mm-hmm.
Your scouting department needs to start looking at schools around this area here. Start looking at the schools where you're not going to have to pay guys that are and get guys that are hungry, not deserving. I need guys that are hungry that you're going to draft, and that comes in with the scouting department and getting this defensive coordinator in early. Again, there are great candidates out here. I know Martindale is a guy that everybody's looking at. He had a hell of a job in Baltimore, but here's the thing: he was let go from those positions because he got beat. He blitzes like crazy. One thing we ain't got to worry about, we gonna pass rush. But guess what?
And man coverage.
And man coverage. His defenses get beat in big games. That is the reason why he left. And for those that were saying Wink was at Michigan, no, Wink got
Michigan. He wasn't. That was me that was saying that, but that was me and my I looked at 2024 and not 23, and that was my mistake. So that I fully take that.
No, but it's not just you. We've heard this from other people as well. So it's not the fact that the man doesn't know what he's doing. It's the fact that you need to have somebody that's competent enough to blitz when it's time to blitz, play off when it's time to play off, definitely play a little zone when it's time to play zone. We as an organization have to start changing things. At this point, Raheem, this on you now. You already got your scapegoat out the door. This is on you. You got Jerry Gray in the building, and you didn't even promote this man. And this man has got over 20 years of being a position coach as well as a defensive coordinator who's had top defenses. I'll just give you this. Ty Law, Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
He had a young Pac-Man Jones in Tennessee who was balling before he got in all that trouble. Shout out to Westlake's own. Then you have another guy that we could talk about that's a Hall of Famer, Darrelle Revis, who he had. Just saying. And then you look at that Green Bay defense. Yeah, they got beat by Philly last week, but he pretty much ran that defense with all those young guys.
Don't forget he was with Seattle at one point in time with that Legion of Boom.
So with everything that we have in Atlanta, the first thing is you got to draft the defensive tackle and let Grady's ass walk. I'm sorry. Grady, we appreciate what you do. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do it just like, hey, I'm military, like some of my other partners out here. Shout out to all the vets. We're going to do you just like they do in the military. Hey, thank you, Grady Jarrett, for your X amount of years of service to the Atlanta Falcons organization. We are going to move on from this here. We hope that you have a great career elsewhere. We will recognize you a little bit later once your career is done. Boom. And then move on to the next. You had a chance to draft his replacement. No disrespect to Rook or Roro, but Rook is not Murphy. Rook is not Sweat. Hell, Rook is not even Newton. Newton showed out in the playoffs, and that was the guy that I was high on out of Illinois. So again,
I liked the Newton too. I liked the Newton too.
But to be fair, Rook was injured. When he was in, he was a difference maker, but he's not a true zero technique. That's the thing. If we're gonna run a 3-4, get your D coordinator, get your zero technique. That's got to be a first round pick. I'm sorry, that's got to be a first round pick because if we can't control the trenches, we're never going to be able to win ball games. We're never going to be able to help these corners out and help these linebackers out if that position is not addressed. People don't realize whether it's a 3-4 or a 4-3, you've got to get one of these big old dump truck boys or whatnot, belly in a wheelbarrow, straight legs, no ankles, the meat fat on the back of his arm like the lady at the church mixing the collard greens. It's just got to be that way.
You said
gotta bring them in.
You said cankles?
I said nankles. No ankles. Nankles.
Yeah, nankles.
No ankles.
That's what the man said.
And I need And I need the pork fat on the back of his arm.
Oh wow!
Like the lady that stir up the collard green pot.
Oh wow! Sister Jones.
He need that fat back muscle.
Oh
but
man!
The other thing we got to get outside of that, the first 2 picks, and this is just me. Maybe I might. Well, first 3 picks, you get your defensive tackle or you get your right tackle because you got to protect Penix's blind side at this point. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You got to get rid of McGarry. I don't care what his contract is. You're going to have to bench him. Get somebody in here that specializes in pass blocking as well as run blocking. Then you get your D tackle. Then you get you an edge rusher. First 3 picks need to be that or a corner. It's got to be one. It's got to be not first.
I was about to say, you know what I'm saying, don't forget about that corner spot. But yeah, I think this need to be an ugly draft, Ryan. I think we need to get trenches. I think we need to get linebackers. Like you said, get an edge rusher, but definitely somebody for that right tackle position if you don't believe in Caleb McGarry. But it's so tough because it's just like, all right, one thing we know that Caleb does good is that run is in the run game. So you're going to have to get somebody that's on that side that can protect Penix, but also be effective as McGarry is in that run game. Because when they got to have it, they run to his side regardless.
That's true. That's very true.
The other thing we can do is trade back for more picks.
That's what I would love to do.
But here's the thing. Depending on where we trade back, it's a defensive heavy draft. It's talent all through this draft. So it's no excuse why we can't address this defense. It's no excuse. So at this point, what I'm looking at now, the other problem and the other cancer on this team, no one want to talk about it. No one wants to talk about it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Rich McKay is the problem. He is the big problem. But Arthur Blank is not going to let him go because he's on the competition committee. So guess what? With Rich McKay turning, his family having the Tampa Bay Bucks organization winning, coming to Atlanta and having them to turn around somewhat, that right there is going to get him a job as the next NFL commissioner. And Arthur Blank is not getting ready to piss in this man's cornflakes and fire this dude. And he's been with him for this long. As much as I want him gone, we all know it's a business move. It's not not about even winning. It's a business move at this point. But I got to roll.
And my thing is too, Ryan, to your point too, we can talk about him getting moved to the Atlanta United side of things, but we already know that's just a title. That doesn't mean anything. He's still in the building, the same building where the Atlanta Falcons do business. So you can say, oh, he's a part of the soccer team now. You can say that all you want to, but we already know behind the scenes it's probably still some strings being pulled by Rich McKay. And to your point, no, Arthur is not going to get rid of not only a business partner, but a pal as well.
Yeah. Well, guys, speaking of which, I know Smitty has to go, and I know Ryan has to go. Smitty, tell these folks where they can find you, even though they already know. Tell them where they can find you, Smitty.
Yeah, man, y'all know where to find me, man, on YouTube at Smitty Sports Machine. If y'all have noticed, man, I've deleted all my videos, so I'm off to a fresh start. Trying to get this thing going back in the right direction, but again, man, I'm up 14K, so thank y'all for supporting me. Truly appreciate it. And y'all can also catch me soon with my boy A1 and my boy Berto. We're gonna fire the 95 North Sports Machine again soon, so y'all be in line for that. But it's gonna be an interesting all season because I'm gonna bring y'all free agent targets, draft targets, profiles, and all that good stuff, man. We just gonna keep rolling and keep bringing y'all the best content out there.
All right. Hey, Smitty, thank you. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. And hey, man, looking forward to that great content.
No
Ryan,
doubt, my brother.
Hey, no problem at all, man. And feel free to jump on anytime. It was a pleasure having you on, Smitty.
Cool.
Smitty, I'll hit you later, man.
Yes,
No
sir. Ryan, tell these folks where they can find you, sir.
Hey, man, you know where you can find us at. Tonight we have a show at 8 p.m. live on YouTube tonight. Birdcage LLC channel, tap in, please, please, please. But before I finish giving my soliloquy for my show, y'all need to go ahead and tap this like and subscribe button for my man T Will and my guy A1 as well, because at the end of the day, we as content creators, we take a lot of time out of our personal lives to entertain everybody around and give you a platform to speak on and put your feelings out there and not get canceled like 92.9 The Game does, you guys. So just saying, just go ahead, show us a little love, and we're going to continue to keep showing you some love. So you either get right or you get left is what we say on my show. So go ahead and get right so you don't get left. Hit that like and subscribe button. Tap in with us at 8 p.m. But continue to support this man, T Will, early in the mornings on your ride to work, and also in the evenings when he pops up. Definitely does some great work, and so does my guy A1 as well. He covers all sports, Atlanta, and does a hell of a job doing it. So appreciate y'all brothers for letting me tap in for a sec. I'll see you guys a little bit later. If y'all decide to stop by tonight, y'all more than welcome.
Oh yeah, man.
Yes, sir. We'll see you, Ryan. Thanks for
Yes,
joining
sir.
us, buddy. Definitely appreciate that. So hey, Chris, just you and I. And again, folks, please like, share, and subscribe to For My ATL Sports One on YouTube. Say again, For My ATL Sports One on YouTube. Trying to bring you guys great content every day. And hey, just go ahead and like, share, and subscribe so we can get more out into the algorithm so we can do more things like this. And to everyone who joined, thank you. Chris, let's get, so we talked about Ulbrich, we talked about Lou, we talked about
Steve and Wink.
Steve and Wink, right? Is there anybody else, maybe a low-key underdog, that you would like to see or you would like to get an interview for a defense coordinator position?
Now, even though I don't feel like he's the long-term answer, because I feel like if he was, there's a possibility that either one or two things would happen. Either the Falcons would have hired him, or he would have hired him to be that, or he would have went maybe somewhere else. So it actually has me wondering if he even wants the position, and that's what. And I'm talking about Jerry Gray. He's already in house. He's already had his hand on the defense, and we already know that him and Raheem definitely took the reins from Jimmy Lake, after the bye, and we started playing better. Now you could, what I'm saying, save some money possibly and just, go get somebody like Jerry Gray and bring him in. I'm just giving a different perspective. Like, I still want new blood in our building. I do. But just for a different perspective of things, so you could go get Jerry Gray. You could he's already here. He's already here. You could just promote him and move on, But again, I still want new blood, man. I want one of these new guys that can come in, because it's not a guarantee that Jerry wants the job, or it's not a guarantee that the Falcons feel like in a full season that Jerry can do the job. I mean, I'm not sure, because it's just like he's assistant head coach and all that, but he's not a defensive coordinator. He's just a defensive mind. He's somebody that's, handling the defensive backs. But we don't know if that's all he wants to do. If that's all he wants to do, that's a different conversation. But I think you should at least give Jerry Gray at least maybe an interview to see, where you can go with things. That would be my underdog, if anybody. I've already mentioned Jim Schwartz, but I know he's hanging out with Philadelphia. They going on the playoff run right now and everything. So it's not guaranteed that we're even going to be able to wait around for that, because I do agree with Ryan. I think you should go ahead and get your defensive coordinator, and you need to do it quickly, because you got guys like the Colts who also need a defensive coordinator, and other teams too. But I just know the Colts seem like they're interviewing everybody we're interviewing too. So, you don't want to lose out on your guy. But so that's just where I would go. I would go Jerry Gray if there's anybody. If there's anybody that you have in particular.
I like Jim Schwartz. I really like Jim Schwartz.
You're gonna have to wait on him though.
Yeah, I know.
And it's still not a guarantee.
Yeah. But I like him, in a perfect world. Like I like him other than Steve Spagnuolo, who is an excellent defense.
Oh, he's not.
Oh no, he's never leaving. I get that. But I really like Spags, but Schwartz reminds me of him a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I would love just to see what our defense could look like. And look, if you marry that with the offense that we have, I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited where this can go. I'm excited to see what we can do with this. To your point, you don't have to have a ladies and gentlemen, we got Mr. Jack Spade in the building. Jack Spade, how you doing, sir?
You talking about the Jack?
We got the Jack Spade from One Time for the Fan in the building. What's up, Jack Spade?
Good,
let me do like my boy did on that Facebook movie. Take the off of Jack Spade and just say Jack.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, man, everything's good, man. I'm just cooling, man. Taking care of some things at work. Here y'all talking Falcons football. Decided to jump in and talk some Falcons football with you. I don't know why we're mentioning Steve Spagnuolo and Dennis Allen and Little Ron from Walmart. And they ain't gonna be our DCs.
Nah, how about
Steve Wilks next week? Steve Wilks walks in next week. He doesn't walk out. There is no Colts interview. with Steve Wilks, because Steve Wilks will be our defensive coordinator coming in 2025.
Just got a bold prediction.
Is that a bold prediction?
On a Thursday.
Who you gonna get if you don't get Steve Wilks? Who you want? You want Jeff Ulbrich? You want to go down that path again?
No.
You guys want to bring back old? What's the guy who had the same mustache as Arthur Smith? What's his name? Nielsen. You want to bring back old Nielsen again?
Hey, some people miss Nielsen, bro. Some people miss him.
Listen to me. He ain't coming back. So who else we got? Who else we got? Falcon fans on display today. I see some of them names that they dropping. Hey man, go get this guy. Go get this guy. Look, man, we want accountability, man. We want somebody to be a leader in that locker room. That's next to Grady. That's next to Jesse. That's next to AJ. That's next to some of these studs that's in that locker room that has done a great job, I think, putting their body and their abilities and their traits and skills on the line to make sure that these fans are happy and that their families are fed. And we need a guy like Steve Wilks, a guy who has been in the NFL for quite some time, secondary back coach. He knows how to get it done with the DB room. He can communicate with Jerry Gray. He's an old school coach like Jerry Gray too as well.
Yeah.
So they should communicate a little bit better. And then for the city of Atlanta, I mean, look at your coaching staff. You have Raheem Morris, you have Jerry Gray, you have Zach Robinson, you have Steve Wilks, if that comes to be the case, Terry Fontenot. I mean, you're kind of shaping up that Atlanta culture. I really like the Falcons are, not in a rebuilding stage, but you don't have to start over all the way. You got to get the right pieces in place. That puzzle has to be filled correctly so that way it can come out to a complete set. And then once you're done, man, you should be in the playoffs. And I think, I can't wait for this offseason to really get underway because we're going to be here every step of the way talking Falcons football, man.
Jack, we are in retooling mode, not rebuild mode, right? We are retooling. We are not rebuilding because retooling is adding, a piece, getting rid of a piece, adding a piece that could be better. Rebuilding, we're just tearing this thing down and just starting all over.
Hey, if that's what needs to be said, A1, for the fans to agree, I'm telling you, man, you're hitting it like a hammer with a nail, man. You're telling the truth because fans kind of see it as a rebuild. And there's a couple things to look at. We can kind of, revamp, retool, just don't renege like in Spades because we done been there before.
Terry know all about that.
Oh, Terry does.
Oh no, Terry does not know reneging. Let me tell you something. Terry does not renege.
Bro,
okay? No. Hey,
move.
You can mess around and find out. Terry does not renege. No, sir.
Let me tell you something. Whoever in the chat right now, man, I'm telling you, man.
Terry was sitting back in his chair, y'all, and then when I said that, boy, the man got it was like that meme, like when you sitting back playing the game, and then you got to get serious.
Oh shit! When you sit up, when you lean up in your chair,
leaning up in his chair on that one, boy. That was funny.
You're down 18 in the second, but you're up 2 in the third. That's how it is, man. Same thing for
how it is.
With Terry, man, I must say you done a great job with this podcast, Terry. But the only thing I gotta wonder is when do you sleep? I saw you went live at 4 a.m. this morning, and I was sleeping. And I don't know if you hit the button by accident, but I was wondering, well, when is this guy?
Oh wow.
But there's some people that see this team and kind of give up. They know that we've been through a lot over the past couple of years. But at the end of the day, man, I'm telling you, man, this team is filled with success, and we're just on the brink of showing the NFL that. I think we're really going to be looking at next season. Look at the teams we play. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow morning on Breakfast for One Time for the Fan. Look at the teams we play next year. Look at our record this year versus the teams with their record this year. We should beat the Jets next year. We should beat the Patriots next year. We should beat the Dolphins next year. The Bills, it's going to be a tough-ass matchup. But you should beat the Cardinals next year. You should at least come close to beating the Rams next year. You should probably give Seattle back that L that they deserved when they came into your house and they took over your trap.
Yes.
And look at the teams that we play next year. The Colts. Like, come on. This is a team I think next year we should be saving our money for that playoff run. I believe the Super Bowl is in San Francisco next year. Well, let's take a trip to San Fran, right? But hey, you know what? Let's say it like this. Let's play in San Fran twice next year. We got to play them in the regular season, and we got to play in the Super Bowl too. right? Like let's believe in Michael Penix. Let's believe in this offense. Let's believe in the greatest guard in the NFL, Chris Lindstrom. He's on your team, Falcon fans, right? This is what we want. We want people to be in that mode where, if they're giving up, fans like us, the ones who still believe, we got to reach out and grab them. We got to get them out that water. They drowning right now. They giving up. They drowning.
Baby.
Let's get them up out that water now. This ain't Titanic. Let's get them out that water and get them on that raft. We can't teach them how to swim to safety, but we can put them on a life raft. You know what I'm saying? But at this point in time, bro, I'm telling you, the Falcons, man, they get on the brink of success, man. They just got to get there, and they're going to get there. And I believe in this team. I strongly believe that this team can get it done. Yeah, we haven't got it done in like 20, 30, 40, 50 years. All right, cool. But just like the Falcons, just like myself, I got to go to work the next day. And that's what the Falcons are doing right now. They got to go to work.
Go to work.
I saw a video of, Russell Wilson training, and I'm not going to mention who I spoke to recently from the team, but there's some players right now that's getting it, bro. They're not playing Call of Duty. They ain't sitting online. They're not sitting over there trying to, watch Love Is Blind on Netflix with their wives, bro. They in the game, bro. They in the gym. They're in the training facility. They're getting better because they know that in 5-6 months they're back on that field, bro. And it's game time. It's game time. So Falcon fans, believe, man. Believe. Terry, I apologize, man. I didn't mean to speak like that.
Man, you got motivational Jack in here on a motivational Thursday, talking Falcons football, talking defensive coordinators.
Jack is channeling his inner Raheem. So it's okay.
I'm ready for tomorrow morning, man. Breakfast for one time for the fan, man. We had to cut the show short last night, and a lot of fans were in the chat talking Falcons with us, and they were excited to, for us to go live. But tomorrow morning, we're back at it, man. We're going to talk about the defensive coordinator. We're going to talk about the same thing I just mentioned, man. 2025 opponents. They have a lot of changes going on with some of the teams that we play, right? Some of the teams that you think is good this year, they won't be good next year. Some of the teams that are bad this year, they're going to be good next year.
They're going to be good.
So we got to look into this.
That's true.
I'm expecting wins from this team. Looking at that schedule, I'm expecting a playoff next year. I'm telling you right now, that I'm looking at that schedule, bro, and if it's like what I saw this year, the Jets, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Colts, the Cardinals, the Rams, the 49ers, like, come on, Falcons. Go get your playoff win right there. Go and win the division right there. Yes, somewhere will say, Jack, the Buccaneers got to play them too. The Saints got to play them too. Yeah, but we all hate them. So let's focus on the Falcons, right?
We hate them, though. Don't worry about what they're going to do.
Fans are going to say, oh, we got the division. That's an easy schedule. Let them think what they want to think. We're going to come out there and play ball, man.
Well,
Rise up.
we swept they behind. So regardless of what they like or don't like or what they did, they got to realize they still got swept by the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah,
that's how it sounded like when we were playing the Buccaneers. Every time we play on wow. That's all you just hear in the background.
Let's not do what we did last year though. Let's finish it this time. Let's finish it. And like you said, Jack, you could look at this schedule and you could be intimidated, but every team that's good this year won't be good next year.
Yeah.
Well, Terry, you got to remember too, man. As the Atlanta Falcons, as an organization, we're learning how to win again.
Yeah.
We've been losing for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're learning how to win again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. Yeah, we should have won a lot of games that we lost, but we're learning how to win again.
So here's the thing about that, especially with that comment that you just said, because I take offense to that. Because you say the Falcons are learning how to win again, I'm kind of getting upset thinking about it because all they had to do was call me. All they had to do was pick up the phone. Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm getting emotional because they got my number, man.
They didn't call 80 on the run. Is that what you're saying, Jack? They didn't call you.
Look, I won't be too loud up in here, but look, let me tell you something. All they had to do was say, Jack, we can pay Kirk Cousins $100 million for 13 games, or we can give you a parking spot at Flowery Branch, and you can give us at least 4 to get us to the playoffs. But I would have did that shit for free.
Oh, wow.
Let me tell you something. Quick hand off to Bijan. The way that Bijan was running after the bye, I would have handed off to Bijan every play It would have been like the Falcons won, and this Jack Spade guy threw the ball one time. He threw the ball to himself. So I'm telling you, like, hey, man, I'm taking offense to that, A1. If they're starting to win again, call your boy.
Hey, man, I'm just saying, bro. It's just, again, man, we haven't had a quarterback. We haven't had, you know what I'm saying, competence all around as a team, man. So now we trying to get that back together, man. And you know what I'm saying, we on the way though. We on the way. I really believe that the Falcons are on the way, man.
I see what they on though. Because they got Michael Penix, they don't need a quarterback. So I'm changing up the positions this year on one time for the fan. I now play Sean safety. I don't think Justin Simmons might be here. So Jesse Bates gonna need somebody to roam in the backfield with him. That's where I come in. So Raheem, if you're listening, Steve Wilks, if you're out there, you need a guy to get out there and get after it. You're playing some teams next year, you know, that is looking for that cover 3 look. I can disguise it. My cover 3 look like cover 12. I disguise it real well. You know what I'm saying? So I got this, y'all. Trust in Jack Spade, man.
Jack, you there?
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Jack Spade. Wow.
Yo, this is crazy. As I'm talking, I see a call come in from Gwinnett County, Georgia. I'm like, oh shit, the Falcons are calling. No, it wasn't them. It wasn't them. But yeah, I thought I was getting there. I thought Terry had some pull. But hey, it's all right.
I thought it was gonna be Jimmy Lake. Don't know what he calling you for, but I thought it was gonna be Jimmy.
Shit.
You want to know about that parking spot?
I can see it now. Jack. I can see it now. Yeah, you got what you wanted, didn't you, Jack Spade? You said you wanted us gone. You wanted me gone, right, Jack Spade?
He gonna call me and say, hey, what's Carrie's number? I'm like,
right, wow. That part. Part. Like,
Carrie, if you're listening, that was Jack who said that. That was not me, Carrie.
You want Carrie number? Carrie's been savage on that Jimmy Lake mission, boy.
Oh wow.
Nah, man.
Hey guys, let's shift gears a little bit. Jack, give me your thoughts on your takeaways from this season from the Falcons. Like your takeaways, start to finish, Alpha to Omega, Genesis to Revelations. What are your takeaways from this season from the Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, sorry about the noise in the background, but it's kind of.
I was about to say that. I was about to say, Jack, that was how you felt about this.
Shit, yeah. Hitting my head against the wall, right? Nah, so I mean, the Falcons were in a situation where it's like the same thing we saw. It's a roller coaster season. Very disappointing. The moments that, you know, you was on kind of like Six Flags at the Goliath. The moment you was going up and ready and getting ready for that excitement, well, here comes the drop. Here comes the decline that we did not want to have. It's a roller coaster season. Kirk Cousins, very disappointed to see where he was around week 13, 14 after telling people, oh, yeah, he's leading the league in passing and look at the passer rating and touchdowns and receptions and old school Kirk Cousins. And this is, you know, Kirk Cousins. All that shit just all that shit just went into the trash because you saw his performance. That was disappointing. The defensive coordinator situation, they couldn't get right early in the season. You know, later on in the season, they got right, and then the offense took a fall. So it's kind of like, well, at one point I wasn't preparing for next season, but as we got closer and closer to this might go down to the final game, and then looking at how bad the Saints was, and then looking at, you know, the Panthers and so forth, I was just sitting there thinking, just get us to this end of the season healthy. Please get us to the end of the season healthy. Like, I don't want guys tearing their ACL and can't play next year. Like, we got to start the year 100%. I want to see these guys make it. I want to see the Falcons win. But I had a moment this year where I was 6-3, and I haven't been 6-3 in a very long time.
Yeah.
So the amount of shit I was talking during 6-3, I apologize to anybody if I have offended you, because we were 6-3. I was first in the division.
Oh,
if the
wow.
are first, I'm first. So I'm talking my first place shit. So I apologize. And, you know, I did think about the playoffs. I did think about things that were going to put us in a position to be better as a fan base, you know? And, of course, with the Rise Up to Our Fan Club, you know, we always take things to the next level when we go on the road. So, you know, the parade in New Orleans and the parties in Vegas and stuff, man, we want fans to have a good time. Atlanta will Atlanta wherever we go. It don't matter. Atlanta's just Atlanta, bro. You saw the other day in the snow how Atlanta folks were treating the snow, and the video started going viral because it's Atlanta. This city needs a championship football team too.
Yeah, we do.
Right? You
Yes,
got
we
the
do.
Bulldogs that's down there in Athens. They're up 78, 316. They're at the back of them. They're over there in Athens, Georgia. That's not Atlanta. I know a lot of people might rep the Dogs, but that is not Atlanta. That is Georgia. So for Falcon fans, you know, the Mobay, put it right here. So for the Hawks need to get a championship team too. People love basketball in this town. The Hawks are doing well. They have a lot of stars, and people want to see this team win. It's kind of like the Julio and Matt Ryan era. There was so much talent on that roster. I hated for them to not win that Super Bowl. Seeing Julio and Roddy and Tony Gonzalez and Matt Ryan. Look at some of them players that we had over the years here in Atlanta, and they didn't get the Super Bowl. So now look at the players that we have: Bijan Robinson, Drake London, AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates. You got some guys that now you're starting to feel that fan favoritism of you want these guys to win the ring, right? And maybe we get that, Fletcher Cox moment for Grady where he gets the ring towards the end of his career, right? I mean, it can happen,
Right.
but you keep messing up your chances to make these things happen, and then fans are going to be back in that same role as they don't want to hear this positivity. The team's going to be garbage next year and all this other stuff. So for me, man, you know where I stand with these birds, and I'm there 24/7 with them. I ain't going nowhere. But that's just how I am with these birds, Terry.
All right. Well, Jack, we appreciate you, man. A1, give me your takeaways from this year.
Shoot, man. Coming into it, I was optimistic. I knew Kurt was coming off of an injury. I was worried about that, but at the same time, I'm going to have faith. I'm going to always have 100% faith in my team, starting the season off, because you never know. It's a long season. Anything can happen. But just like Jack, I remember being 6-3. I was sitting up there 6-3. I remember I was making all kind of videos and memes and everything, just, just embodying everything that we were doing. Jack, you were saying about the Rise Up tour. You guys had the parade going. You guys had different events going for every city that we were going to. So we know we had that going on. We had the fan base. Everybody was excited. Everybody walking in traps, taking over traps, swag surfing, all that good stuff. And then we build it up, and then, we let it wash away. Straight up and down. It lost our grasp. It started at that really it started from the Seahawks game, but it really trickled over into the Saints game. As far as rearing its ugly head again, and then after that we were just reeling for the rest of the season. Just reeling. And it's painful, man. It is painful. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This season hurts. I think more than a lot of the past few seasons, probably since the Super Bowl. I think this season even hurts more than the year that we went after the Super Bowl and we lost to the Eagles when we tried to go to Julio Jones back-to-back plays and we just couldn't convert. That was hurtful. But this season right here, I believe, is more hurtful than even that season. The expectations, the whole thing of trying to be just a quarterback away, even though we knew we wasn't just a quarterback away. But still, just to have that expectation, the possibility to win the division, if nothing else, forget the record, forget people, because I know I predicted 12-5 or 11-6, but forget the records. We just was trying to see if we can win the division and get to the playoffs. Then we went to trying to see if we can just have a winning season, and we failed on all. So it's just so now we got to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, because it wasn't people are saying it's not a complete failure, but I still do call this season a bust from the expectation level. So I got to call it a bust from that angle. I mean, things that you tried to do did not work. And if it don't work, if it works, that means you're a genius. And if it doesn't, that means what? And it didn't work. So that's where we are right now.
All right. Well said. Well, guys, I think we learned a lot. I think we learned the importance of timeouts. I think we learned the importance of when you need to make a change with the kicker, you need to make a change with the kicker.
So I do want to just jump on one thing too, or two things. Just real quick, Terry. You mentioned the timeout situation for Falcon fans. Let's not put the Washington game like that was the end of our season for real. We really blew the chances back when we had that 4-game losing streak.
We did.
Like, we can't just go down to that last game for Washington and say, oh, because of the timeouts, we didn't make the playoffs and we put ourselves in this position. Bro, we was on a 4-game losing streak while the Bucs were catching us. You know what I'm saying?
That's the Bucs really almost won out. The Bucs lost one game down the stretch. They almost won out.
Bro, that shit hurt me when I saw, I think it was Mike Conti who put the post out and said, out of the next 8 games, Falcons can go 4-4. This team has to go 7-1. This team has to go such and such.
I remember that post,
like,
bro.
2-6, like 3-5. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, you got to be kidding me, bro. You guys just could have just. It's just kind of embarrassing, man. Another thing you talked about,
Jack. Even with that, look, if it's there, you got to take it. I mean, I hear you,
course.
But we did lose it there, Jack. We did lose it there. You might not like it, but we lost it there, Jack. It was there. If we win that game, right?
Well, okay. So
go ahead.
So that was the end of their destruction right there. That Washington game. The start of their destruction is when they lost to the fucking Saints.
I get it.
Sorry, Jack. I got to go back to the Seahawks game.
That's the thing that sucks is that the start of their destruction happened in November, and the end happened at the end of the season against Carolina.
Yeah.
And then of course the Saints losing to the Bucs. Bro, it was a 2-month wave of destruction. That is embarrassing.
Yeah.
You can't have that.
I believe
we went through Kirktober. We had Kirktober.
Yeah.
Speaking of one thing, you mentioned wash away, A1. This message is for Bodie. If you can come back to the house, the paint is drying. The paint is drying on the the garage door, and the front door.
My bad,
it might rain this week. We don't want the paint to wash away.
My bad, Bodie.
My bad, Bodie. Supplies and get over there before 8:30 p.m.
My bad, Bodie. I did not know what I had just set you up for, sir. So that's my mistake. Goodness. Oh boy. But yeah, man. Like I say, I mean, the Saints game is really what started the real implode. But I feel like the chink in the armor started when you let the Seahawks get off of their losing streak, because they was like on a 3-4 game losing streak, and you let them come into our home, our house, and beat us. You know, like it kind of like the chink in the armor started right there for me, because I was just like, the Seahawks are not supposed to be beating us. I just felt like that. I'm just sorry. I just felt like the Seahawks just had no business beating us. And it started there. And, so we was able to win a couple of games. And then that Saints game was like, it just like, you had the cracks in the dam. And then that Saints game just, just blew open the dam.
It blew it open.
We got 3 teams this year you lost to that was on losing streaks. The Seahawks had 3. The Broncos had 2. And the Saints were on 7.
Yeah,
right. And then you also had Carolina, who had just lost the week before. Just got the doors blown off of them the week before.
We were that get right team, which we didn't want to be. But hey, look, I still say the future's bright. We need to get a D coordinator in here who can again fit scheme to personnel, make the best out of it, and look at with this offense. I still say we are a playoff team next year. And we have the potential to go on a deep run. So it's not like the cupboard is bare. I'm excited about next year. Yeah, this collapse sucked. It did. But I've been a Falcon fan for 48 years, and trust me when I say I've seen far worse. Okay? I sat through the 70s and the 80s with the Falcons, and they were lean years. We are by far leaps and bounds ahead of this. So this team has a good future. I'm excited, and let's see where it goes, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it, and
one thing
I think that's a. Go ahead, Jack.
No, my bad, Terry. One thing they definitely have to stop doing is stop letting teams set records on them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, like it's some random shit. You'll go into that Minnesota game or some career game. Like you'll go into some random game like the Falcons Vikings. All right, cool. And they'll be like, Justin Jefferson hasn't caught a touchdown in 21 games. Oh, he just caught 5 today.
Right.
Like, what? How? How is that possible?
Right.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, when he went to Tennessee a couple years ago, we're going to beat Tennessee. They got a rookie quarterback. They come into the game, Hopkins torches us with Will Levis. But they got to let, like, certain shit get getting to them. That Denver game, even with Denver's record and our record, look at Denver's stats going into that game. Defensively, they had us pretty much beat. But offensively, we was kicking Denver's ass in numbers all over the board. From Bijan versus their running back, Drake versus their wide receiver, Kirk versus Bo Nix. Everything was lining up as how good this offense is versus Denver's defense. Brady went out there and put some damn records on us. Yep. First Denver Broncos team to beat an NFC team in the South so bad that I was like, what career record is this?
Career day for career day for Bo Nix.
Oh yeah, the career day for Bo Nix. The passer rating thing for Sam Darnold in Minnesota. I remember being on that train heading to the airport after the game in Minnesota, and Vikings fans are right there. Sam Darnold went for 158.2 passer rating, damn near a complete game. And here I am sitting there with my suitcase looking at this Viking fan like, bro, I'll punch you right now. Don't ever say that shit to me.
You're right. Well, I'm standing right here.
You know? Yeah, like I'm standing right here. You're talking about Sam Darnold beating Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was just kind of disappointing this year. All those moments, you wake up, you put on your jersey, and that's football. Every team goes through it. You go down to the stadium, home or away. You expect this big win. You spend your money, home or away, and then the team goes out there and lays an egg. I want to see a better Falcons team next year. That's all I want to see. I want to see better teams. I'm passionate about this team. I love this team, but I also understand
stop letting guys like Josh Dobbs roll out the bed and be able to put up, points against you. Backup quarterbacks like Desmond Ridder, or former quarterbacks like Desmond Ridder giving you a scare at the end of the game. I ain't gonna lie, Jack. I was nervous in Vegas, boy. That last throw went up, boy.
Bro, I'm sitting there and big shout out to the Grady family. I'm sitting there right there next to him, bro. And I'm sitting over there like, bro, I know Desmond Ridder ain't finna do this with 2 seconds left to go in the game. And then the first thing you're thinking about is he's doing this shit for pass interference. That's why he's chucking that ball in that end zone. Because if you get pass interference, you're taking that ball half a distance to go. And that's the problem I'm worried about, where it's damn near 19 people at the end in the end zone fighting for that ball. All a referee has to do is just say, I saw something. And then there goes that yellow flag. And then we lose to the Raiders. And that's Ritter's moment right there. And you didn't want that. Oh, my God, you didn't want that.
You
didn't want that. I tell you right now, this is personally on One Time for the Fan. I didn't want that. So I can tell you right now, I did not want that. But then
that was going to be a long flight home. That's all.
But you look at the clock. You look at the clock, and then you look at the score, and it's like, okay, did we win? No, there's 2 seconds left to go on the clock, and they're trying the same play. Where now you're thinking, okay, they didn't call pass interference the first time. Please don't call pass interference again. And sure enough, Jesse Bates was able to get the interception. But all we're waiting for is a flag. Yeah, all we're waiting for is a flag from the referee. And he says pass interference. Bro, they would have been like, hold on, we got to stop the game. There's a Falcon fan on the field. I'm taking the ball. I'm going to get the hell out of there. The game's not going to be finished. The game's not finished. I'm taking the ball. But that's just how it is, man, when you got these, what my boy Waterboy say? Blood pressure birds. And before even Waterboys and them were saying that, there were Falcon fans out there saying,
the blood pressure birds.
Man, not even against the blood pressure birds, just they're tired of just being in that fourth quarter moment where the game is not over, right? I mean, we had a couple of those wins this year where, we knew the game was kind of going to be it's going to be the wrap, it was going to be the end. And then what happens? The team comes back and fights back to the end. Like, we never really had a big dominating win outside of that Carolina win this year. And Carolina was trash back in week 5. You know what I'm saying? So I expected for us to go in there and mop up Carolina. But remember, it was 20-20 at the half before we came out in the second half and started busting their tail. So I want to see more dominating wins next year. We had the Cowboys beat to a point where the game was over. And the next thing you know, it's like, wait, the Cowboys are back in it? How? And then you look at the Tampa Bay game down in Tampa Bay. You're whooping them up so bad, and then we fumble. After we fumbled, we missed the kick. We missed the field goal. And you miss the field goal, Baker scores, and they get the ball back. And then they're down there on the 50-yard line with 34 seconds left to go. And they're getting ready to put the damn ball in the score and win the game. I can't have that next year. I want to sit there in New York. We're going to New York next year. I want to sit there in New York. The Jets have been trash for years. Don't have the Jets be good that one game against you next year. They've been trash for years. New England, ever since TV left, has been trash. Don't go to New England next year and, oh, my God, the Patriots win 34-10. How? How did they beat us 34 to fucking 10? It's not, you can't allow those things next year, because fans are gonna say we're right back in this position. Do you know why fans believe in the Chiefs? Not saying Falcon fans. You know why fans around the NFL believe in the Chiefs and they believe in the Bills? Look at what they do. The Chiefs are whooping teams to a point where, hey, the game is over in the third quarter. And if it's not over in the third quarter, don't give Pat Mahomes the ball left with 5 minutes left to go, because then the game is really over. Look at the Buffalo Bills. They're going to pound you on defense and offense, and they're going to make sure you know that when you come to Buffalo, it's a tough environment to play. And it's a little bit different here in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I just need to see the turnaround from this team. I want teams to fear us. I want teams to look at their schedule, like how I just did a couple minutes ago. I looked at the schedule and said, bro, we got Buffalo next year. That ain't no easy game. I don't give a damn how you look at it. That ain't no easy game. That team has been coached well. They bring in the right players. They draft well. They bring in the right free agents. They've made the right moves to be back in the AFC divisional playoff game again consecutively, year after year, ever since Josh Allen took over there. Now they're building a stadium for Josh Allen. You know who that sounds like? That sounds like my boy Matt Ryan when they built a stadium damn near for him. It's like you got to look at these times, man. Penix, if you're the guy, go win us a chip, man. Go do it, man. But Kirk Cousins couldn't do it. Matt Ryan couldn't do it. You know, I want to see who the quarterback is to get this job done. But I need to see some more dominating wins from
whoever that quarterback is, boy, that finally gets us that Super Bowl ring. I think he's going to end up getting a statue built for him while he's still playing.
I would probably, honestly, I would invest into that. I would do something that's probably over the top for the first quarterback to win the Super Bowl. If I was Arthur Blank, you'd have to look at it and say, what can I do to make sure that the Falcon fans always remember this quarterback forever? You know?
You need a statue.
You got it. A statue is one thing. Just don't build no Dwayne Wade statue. Whoever built the Dwayne Wade statue, don't get them to do that one. Because
I ain't gonna lie, that Dwayne Wade statue is getting used everywhere in all the wrong ways.
That ain't Dwayne Wade. That's
I don't know
Tracy
who that
McGrady.
is.
I don't know who that is.
Tracy McGrady.
That's Colombian Tracy McGrady.
AC Law. Oh, who that was?
That boy said AC Law, more like Stromile Swift.
Yeah, I'm talking. All them folks. Theo Ratliff. That's what he looked like. Theo Ratliff.
Yeah, that boy said Theo Ratliff.
I'm like, that ain't D Wade, bro. That ain't D Wade.
Well, all right, guys. Unfortunately, I've got to head out. So I thank everyone for coming. Jack, thank you for appearing on the show. Please let these folks know where they can find you.
Hey, man, you can find me at work getting money. What you doing? No, man. One time for the fan, man. Every Sunday, Wednesday at 8. Friday mornings, breakfast with One Time for the Fan. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we are back talking Falcons football. One Time for the Fan on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. Man, we everywhere, man. We want Falcon fans to just enjoy these times that we have. Spend time with your friends, spend time with your family, man. Take care of the people around you, man. And just love life, man. Falcons will do their thing, and, you know, on our end, we need to do our own thing. So don't sit here and dwell over these birds, man. They'll get their stuff together. But for me, I got to work the next day. So rise up, y'all.
Rise up. Jack Spade, we appreciate you, man. We really do. Thank you. Chris A1, tell these folks where they can find you, man.
Hey, man, A1 Forever Sports, that is the platform on YouTube. Please, by all means, come over, like, comment, and subscribe. Help me get out there in the YouTube algorithm. You know, hit that like for everybody, man. You know, so you had Miss Carrie on today. We had Smitty in here. Make sure you go show him some love. Make sure you show T. Will some love as he's growing. I'm growing as well. Man, let's just keep on growing as a Falcon community, as individuals, collectively, all that good stuff, man. And, Twitter and Instagram, you also can find me at A1 Forever. And also the real A1 Forever on TikTok. I know it's about to get ready to get banned, but, you know, I just still got to mention it. Appreciate you for having me on here, man. God is good. He can do all things.
Amen, brother. Amen. 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 And J. Dot, I'm about to drop the link in there right now. Thank you for that, J. Dot. I appreciate that. And anyone else who wants to like, share, and subscribe, please do so. I'm trying to get this channel up and off the ground and bring great content to you just about every day. We talk Falcons, we talk Hawks, we talk Braves, we talk Dogs, we talk just about anything you want to talk with Atlanta Falcons sport or Atlanta sports in general. So to everyone who did join in the chat, thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to spend these precious moments with us, and it does not go by lightly. We appreciate you. We thank you and look forward to seeing you again. I do
want to mention the job that Bodie did on the truck when he was washing.
Oh my God! Stop it! Leave Bodie alone.
Here we go again.
Leave Bodie alone. Stop it.
He can't use the turtle wax on the bins, bro.
Let you tell it. Let you tell it. You gonna make Bodie one of the water boys because you sure got him doing a lot of stuff that players.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey guys, thank you again. Thank God would not be here without him. Thank him every day. Appreciate that. And last but not least, again, I am on For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. We have a show in the morning at 8 a.m. and that will be followed by a show with One Time for the Fan, of which I'm also a member of, at 9 a.m. And we will get all up and through the Falcons, defensive coordinators, offenses, defenses, just in general, the state of the Falcons and where we are going. Last but not least, I have to thank Mr. Jack Spade and my brother, Mr. Eric Parker, for getting me into this business. And hell, I got to thank Chris A1 for helping me stay in this business. Until then, you guys be great. Thank you for joining us. Rise up and have an amazing day. And if I don't see you guys, have a great weekend. Good night, everybody.